Welcome to Financial Investing Radio, where you'll learn the secrets for consistent, high-probability returns in the financial markets for additional income to change your life. Grant creates consistent, high-probability trading systems for the financial markets and has applied them over the past 5 years. He's only recently started sharing these tried and true market secrets. As a gift to listeners, Grant is offering his high-probability indicators for free. Go to financialinvestingradio.com and download yours today. Now, here's your host and trading veteran, Grant Larson.
Okay, welcome everybody, and thanks for joining me on another edition of Financial Investing Radio. I have a very special guest with me today. I'm very excited about this. She is a professional trader. She's been trading for some time now, and she's made the journey. And I think that's one of the things that really inspired me to want to talk with her some more. She's made the journey that I know a lot of people would also like to make. She's been through, hey, never done this before, to, gee, what is it all about? How do I invest? How do I do it safely? And all the way getting it into the world of, I could actually even make a living off this as well. So I'd like to introduce you to Bibi. So Bibi, thank you for joining.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
And Bibi and I are remote. We're not in the same place at this point, so I'm sure the audio will work just great for us. But I wanted to start today by asking Bibi some questions, and then we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, so sort of first and foremost, the thing that I wanted to learn more about you, Bibi, was what kind of work did you do before you became a professional trader?
I started out very young in retail, like we always do. Through college, I did retail, selling of fashion clothing, and I always liked to do work that was related to buy and sell things. After college, I migrated into the financing world where I was doing retail banking. And for a lot of people, retail banking, they don't understand the terminology, but it's actually the branch office working directly with people. And then after that, I decided to go a little bit further, and I did business banking. And so I was always into selling tangible and intangible products all my life. And then eventually I did real estate, and that's when I stopped the retail side of my journey. So those are the three things I did throughout my life.
And as you went through those different jobs throughout your career, did you ever think much about doing investing or trading, or what was sort of the thing that sort of first caught your eye on this?
I was in retail banking when I first met someone that was really a mentor to me. He was the head of the investment area of this particular bank. And he used to tell me about how investing was the way to go. And so I was actually going to get my Series 7 license through him. So I have a few financial licenses. And once I did that, I thought about what that really meant. And it wasn't what I wanted. It was when you do a Series 7, you're really just bringing money into the investment side of the bank and dealing with compliance. But that thought stayed in my mind for a while. Investing or trading, most of the time I wanted to be in the front end, buying and selling. So that's how I got there.
Buying and selling. Okay, so you had a mentor that inspired you, and you started to think, hey, this might be a useful thing for me to go try out. Sometimes trading or investors sort of have this illustrious sort of stigma, right? Living on your own, you've got full autonomy of your time, you're out at the beach constantly. I mean, was it that sort of view, or were there other things that motivated you to want to become a professional trader?
The professional trading factor was basically how I could utilize my time and still do what I love to do, which was transacting some kind of business. So all I knew how to do is basically buying and selling something, and I understood that that's what trading was, not really investing, because I really understood what investing was. The clients of the bank were holding positions, and that was not my kind of thing. I wanted to do what they call day trading. So he told me about that. He said that's a different type of environment from what we are used to seeing and what you're used to dealing with, where you take a chunk of money from a client and you put it into mutual funds and you just hold that position and ride the market. And I thought that's not for me. I did not really want to do investing. I wanted to do some kind of a transaction where I was, in essence, just basically buying something and selling for a profit.
Okay.
And that's how I got there. So this man said to me, in this type of business, you only eat what you catch. So it was a commission only type of deal. He was coaching me. I was so young. I was in my 20s. So he said, you only really eat what you catch. And that is what stayed with me for the longest time. Was, this is not going to be easy, but it is something I'm going to look into.
Okay, and so as we look at the transition, so you were working for these firms, you got this mentor who's inspired you, and you start to take some training courses, and you start practicing while you're still working. How did that go?
Well, from that point on, this was just the first thoughts. I was barely, mid 20s. So I stayed with my careers, and next thing I thought about was, how can I do this really? And I started reading books about the stock market. And you read just the basics, and you basically just learn how to buy some type of a stock and hold it for a few days or years or whatever. And that wasn't really what I wanted. It's from Claude. Going back to that, I started looking into trading back in 2011. That's when I really wanted to get out of everything I ever thought I liked to do and just do something that was more independent, because I really didn't want external factors to dictate my performance. And what I mean by that is, yes, I want to have a business, but I don't want to rely on clients to let me make a profit and so on. And I didn't want a boss, and I didn't want to. Really didn't. I wanted to be free, basically. And going through trading, they always portray that image of a trader of being a person who does whatever they want. They wake up in the morning, they make a couple of trades, and they make a profit, and it's a good lifestyle. So that kind of made me consider the whole thing about day trading. So instead of reading books about stock trading now, I was looking into day trading. And that's when I came across free classes of how to trade for a living. And I took a few. And that opened up in 2012 a whole entire chapter of basically destruction of funds and mistakes and different technical analysis. The whole entire year was just a tsunami of information that got me to where I am today. Thank you, God, I think.
Yeah, so it was a school of hard knocks, is what you're saying. You followed some of that information in the books. Some of it was better than others. Some was worse than others. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I think that anyone who has been there,
Yeah.
and I've talked to a lot of the people, everyone, people who I know that have been trading for 15 years, people who just started, everybody, we go through the same symptoms, except for the real professionals that come from, like my former boss or my actual mentor now, who
Yeah.
Mr. Camp. He said to me, we didn't go through the retail side of trading. all that you've gone through, all the mistakes and all the money and all the learning and all the frustrations. He said, we professionals, we don't know any of that. So you've got to talk to different people from different areas of the industry to really understand what trading is. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. The whole thing is a huge process.
In fact, I imagine you would agree that you never really end, right? I mean, you're always learning, right? It's still constant.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. It's very dynamic. Every day is a different day. Every day is a total mental puzzle that you have to put together. Not only have to know yourself, which I grew so much in the past few years as a person, as a woman. Trading made me a totally different person. Not only am I a little bit more risk avoiding, doing risk avoidance in my life, and as well as trading, you have to have that kind of idea about trading. But everything makes you a better person when you actually become a professional trader. It's unbelievable.
So how long did you trade sort of on the side while you had your day job? How long did you do that before then you actually said, all right, I'm actually going to make the transition and do full-time, professional day trading?
The transition is a tricky thing about trading that not a lot of people tell you about. The books don't teach you how psychological trading can be. So when I decided to go full on, full time trader, my mentor said, you never quit your day job. You have to transition into trading so that you're not, he quoted, not trading with your checkbook. And it took me a while to understand what he meant. And what it is if you have the pressure to trade for a living, for an income, you will feel pressure to make trades. And that's not good for your psychological. Or if you trade with your checkbook or pocketbook, I guess is what he says, and you have to pay the bills, now you're forcing, not only forcing trades, but you're making more mistakes because you got so much more pressure. So this mentor of mine and his partner instructed me to find a way to work the worst hours of the week or the worst trading days of the week and plan my weeks ahead where the odds of a good trade would happen. So I would take those morning off. Or if this day was a terrible day to trade, like a fat day, for instance, I don't touch those days. So I would just trade, just work double shift. So I transitioned and I had to prove to myself that I could do that work. And it took me a whole year to 18 months. And it was extremely structured. I had reserves put away. I lived very, very frugal. I took care of all my liabilities. And I recommend that you never want to be pressured to make a trade, ever. Because that's when you start thinking a little bit that you have to make that trade and you're not clear and you force that trade and it usually end up being a mistake. So you have to be very clear, you have to be very stable, you have to make sure that you can do your job without thinking that you have to do your job. And it has to be a natural subconscious thing.
And if I recall, you're trading the futures, right? Is it the E-mini that you're trading?
Yes, that's it. That's the only thing I trade at the moment.
Okay. Was there what led you to just trade that?
I'm not the various mistakes that we go through, and I'm not really sure about what other people have done, but I do know a couple of women traders, and the three of us had the same symptoms of retail trading. If the market that we were supposed to trade that day was not moving, we would go to another market that probably was trending, and we try to chase that trade. For instance, the natural gas. I just love taking the natural gas because I saw a little pattern that would happen near 7:30 in the morning. And so I would go to that one and I make a little profit. And then the S&P wasn't moving, so I go to the euro because apparently someone told me during the classes that they were inversely correlated. So if this one is not moving the way I wanted, then the other one is. So I make that mistake and chase the euro. And I always try to get a breakout trade of the crude oil, and they never worked. When I did make a profit one day, I would lose the whole profit plus some because I really didn't know what I was trading. I was just chasing luck, basically. There's no structure. And that's not good for us, not good for traders. You have to know what you're trading. You have to know the instrument that you decided you're going to get to know how it behaves at all times.
So focus on one, get really familiar with it.
Yes, and I talked to who told me this was really Mr. Camp. He said, you don't go to an eye doctor to, how did he say that? You don't go check on your heart. You don't go to an eye doctor to check your heart. You go to a specialist. The same with trading. He said, you want to be a specialist in something. You want to be the best you can be at one thing because you can't be the best at everything. So he said, get to know whatever it is. Get to know the market you're trading very well. And it took me a lot of beating, to tell you the truth. It took me a lot of beating to realize that and give up the bad habit of chasing trades because the S&P E-minis was not moving. So you have to be able to control yourself and make a decision. What do I want to do? And I know there are a lot of people out there that can be successful at many instruments. But in the beginning, I think that the best is to learn one thing and learn it very well.
And I suppose having the discipline, even though the S&P minis aren't moving at the moment, to have the discipline to just sit out of the market and just wait, right?
Just wait. And the game is, again, I've read so many different trading books, went to so many classes, and I think that someone should tell us there, the first thing that you have to learn is yourself. And patience for trading is a very, very hard thing to dominate, to understand. Like, for instance, last week, I think it was Friday, that trade didn't work until 11 o'clock, so I've been sitting in front of my computer for 3 hours. Nothing is happening. But at least it did work at 11 o'clock. And there are some trades that you have to wait until 2 to get a nice little predictable trade. So first you must understand that you got to dominate yourself. You got to understand to have patience. And you learn one asset at a time. And little by little, in just baby steps, you can become a good trader.
Yeah, I'm looking at Friday right now. It definitely jumped up and then just went sideways for a couple hours, didn't it? There's just nothing.
Oh, yeah. Those couple hours, if you look at it, I think the high was 903, and I was waiting for that high. Nothing happened, and then another hour, and then finally, right on time, 11:05, we could take that trade. So what do? You want to take that trade, and you just, this was 3 years ago, I'd be trying to short those moves and getting stopped out for a little loss and just booking little loss. No, you've got to have the patience to sit there and know the exact time when you're going to work.
Yeah.
And that takes time to to learn.
Do you
learn
listen
yourself.
to music, or do you do Sudoku, or what do you do during that time?
Oh, God, I do all kinds of stuff. There are times I'm actually on the floor doing push-ups because I'm so hyper. But I'm
Well, it's
serious.
good to have a plan,
And
right?
what?
I said it's good to have a plan.
Yes, yes. You said that, and just recently another buddy trader told me about the plan because I said to him, "What would you say to me?" Because he's been in the industry for 20 years, and he said, "I'm going to say you one thing only: plan your work, and you work your plan. That is easy." He said, "The hard part's really not the execution, but sticking to your plan." So I said, "Thank you. Say no more, sir." I printed those words that he emailed me, and they're on my wall.
That is awesome. Well, you've given us a lot of time. Can I ask you one more question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And so what I've enjoyed is that, you've shared some of the challenges, right? And I think we can all relate with that as we go through this journey of becoming better traders. What has been one of your most painful lessons or bad trades that really sort of impacted you and caused you to learn a lot of lessons and now has made you a better trader today?
Well, there's one trade that my friend and I call it the Jesus trade. It's like, Jesus, get me out of this one. I'll never make this mistake again.
Ah.
And it does not work. Jesus does not care, or whoever, the Buddha, whoever is your light that's guiding you at that moment. It's not going to come your way no matter how much you pray. If the market is working in a direction, if you get lucky and get out of it breaking even, because when you make a mistake and you know it, you're breaking a rule. You know you made a mistake. You know you're impulsive. If you get out of it even, don't try to get out with a profit because it hurts even more. So no matter I guess from my point of view is the hardest thing about trading, the most painful lessons is when you know you made a mistake and you're praying to get out of it with a profit and you just hold on to it and you want to believe it's going to work out. It's not going to work out. So that's very painful. I've done it. A lot of my friends have done it. And it takes time for you to understand that. There's nothing you can do. Just get out. Made a mistake, get out of it right away.
Yep, just get out. Oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Well, Bibi, this has been delightful, very insightful. Thank you for taking the time with us today. Hopefully in the future we'll get to talk with you again and learn more about the things that have guided you in your journey.
Thank you. I believe that anyone who wants to be a trader has an awesome journey ahead of them. And little by little, you can be successful. And never give up. Never give up. There will be times where you're just frustrated, but never give up. Just do the work. Learn. Talk to people. Get as much as information as you can and tackle the job.
Bibi, that's awesome. I just really, again, want to thank you for taking the time with us here today. Many lessons learned. I know I'll go back and re-listen to this multiple times. You dropped a lot of tips there for us, things to make sure that we should do and not do as we move forward with our trading journey. Thank you again, everybody, for joining this episode of Financial Investing Radio. And until the next time, trade safe. Take care.
Thank you for joining Grant on Financial Investing Radio. Remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Don't forget to download your free high probability indicators before your next trade. Visit financialinvestingradio.com now.